Hello everybody. Welcome to the channel if you are new, and welcome back if you are already a subscriber. Today's video is going to be a flip through of my April setups. The reason that I am posting this so absurdly early, and if you notice we are down a planner, we'll have a quick chat about that, is because I actually want some suggestions and input on a particular topic. So I'm posting this early so that once the month actually kicks off, I'll be able to implement those suggestions or recommendations when I get there. So let's go ahead and dive in with the one thing that has no theme, and I'll put these guys off to the side. So this is my budget planner. This is something that I put together just with stuff in my stash. So it's not really high tech or anything. It's just a space for me to simply kind of track spending, track bill pay, that sort of thing. So as you can see, the layout is really simple. So I've got a space for balance, carrier, minimum, and amount paid. I'm slowly but surely working to try to get them all in order in terms of balance. So I have not moved and migrated them from the March list just yet, as things have not all been paid, but I will simply flip that over once everything's been paid for the month of March to see where the balances are at and try to get them in order. Then the next page is just kind of what would be expected to be paid on each of my paychecks. And then I just simply go into a page for each week, and then I give myself a page for notes. If you guys have hung out and been watching the videos, I want to just pause and say thank you so much for your support and your continued support. But you would have seen in previous kind of flip through videos, like from January specifically, because that's the only one I have posted for this particular planner for this year, is that I, at the end of every week, kind of did a total, and I can give you guys like a kind of quick peek of that. At the end of each week, I totaled my spending, whether I was under or over, and then what contributed to that. So for example, for week one, it was 100% takeout. I went down a rabbit hole, got all my favorites to excess, and my action item was no takeaway until week 2, and kind of specifically until my hair appointment, because I always try to treat myself to lunch that day because it is a bit of a self-care day. So I really like having that space and wanted to continue it. Sorry, I'm also going to go ahead and start trying to set up some layouts for May, so that's why that one's already done. So a little sneaky peek there. I'm very on the ball with trying to get ahead of some things because I feel very behind in a lot of things right now, including the upload of this video. Normally I'd have them up by noon, so this is a little bit later. So I'm actually going to, yes, I'll do my Hobonichi weeks second. So in my Hobonichi weeks, I tend to keep everything that's like health and fitness related, as well as sometimes things going on with Binks. So Binks has been having a go of it since I got back. So pretty much the whole month of February and even into March, we are just kind of on the struggle bus, both of us health-wise. I came back from New Orleans and I was having quite a bit of like tummy and nausea issues while I was in New Orleans. No, I am not expecting. That is not what's happening. Not that there's anything wrong with that, just to go ahead and nip that in the bud. And then I came back to have a ton of sinus issues that just really didn't let up until recently, like to the point that my sinuses were so inflamed on the left side of my face that it was like into my teeth, which was insane to me. And then Binks had her own digestive issues, which I think we're kind of on the tail end of, but we're still having some struggles. So this would kind of be the place that I would log all that. And I started to kind of notice, I really didn't have enough space. Like I kind of needed just like one extra line. So I am switching it up just a bit. So I'll show you an example. So I don't typically give myself more than like 2 lines. So I'm hoping that by giving 3, I can, because you'll see it got kind of like out of hand in a couple places. So I'm hoping just a little bit of extra room will help. As you can see, this week is themed off of the Monet washi from Coffee Monster Co., which is where I really want to involve you guys. So last April, by that point, I had all of the Artist Series washis from Coffee Monster Co. And I really wanted to do 1 month with all of them, just one right after the other. And I thought April would be a really great opportunity for me to do it again because I had done it the previous April, and I thought it would be fun to compare and contrast. So I set my April up accordingly. Last year, I even took the opportunity to enjoy documentaries, movies, shows, things like that that would be themed off of the artist. So I'm trying to think what the name of the movie was that I watched based off Monet. It's got Pierce Brosnan in it, and I cannot think of what the name of it is. Oh, the Thomas Crown Affair, I think, is what it is. So it was really good. I'd never seen it. Scandalous, so scandalous. But I really want to do the same thing this time around, but I had quite a bit of trouble trying to find things for certain artists. So if you have any show, documentary, preferably something I could watch, because right now I am reading Lord of the Rings, rereading it, and I'll be continuing that through April, so I really don't want to take a pause. If it's something short that you think I could do in maybe like a day or so, definitely suggest it, or maybe something that I might like for future reading, let me know. And I'm also going to post this in the group so that people can get involved too. But so if there is anything Monet, Da Vinci, Hokusai, or Van Gogh that you think that I should watch / maybe read, let me know what it is. And I'd be super happy to shout you out if I do end up and referencing you if I do end up doing any of those, or your particular pick. So another thing that I chose to do is start to document the colors that I use, because I think it would be easier for me when I come to the week of to say, oh, these are the colors that I'm using in my weeks, so these will translate over into the Hobonichi Han, and it kind of takes out a little bit of the work for me. Like I can look and say, okay, like I think that's going to be a great YouTube play button. I think that's going to make a good watching, and that's going to be good for my water tracker, because I typically pick about 3 colors a week. In this particular case, it was for the date bar, the days of the week, and then my daily tracker at the bottom. I also chose to reverse order this, and you'll see it in a couple different ways. So the normal order that I was doing was that I had the tracker at the top and then my days of the week down below. And I obviously didn't have washi on that one, but when I started to include washies, it became a little bit problematic and was kind of squishing everything. So I think with this, it'll be a little bit easier because I can make my daily task bar based off of how much room I have left. I kept it pretty clean with just AM, PM skin, meds and supplements, no treats, calorie deficit, and workout. So I kept it really clean. I'm really struggling with that. There is more that I want to track, but I'm really struggling with getting behind and not being able to stay up to date with all of my trackers, which is also why I don't have an extra planner to show you. So my ritual planner, I am going to kind of like take off screen for a little while, because I really feel like I need some time with it, and I really need to deepen my practice and actually kind of get back to it, and be just a little bit more quiet about that. And I just need to be more internal with that. It's something I feel comfortable flipping at the end of the month, but it's more of a personal thing that I just feel like right now I just need to take it out of the mix so that I can leave it on my coffee table next to my tarot cards and do my tarot in the morning like I used to, versus having to consider how it plays into tracking in the day and the flip throughs and the setups. And I think that that's just best if I kind of like take that weight off for now. So not to say that we won't ever see it again, but I'm just going to take a break from it having a film career. As you can see, I've popped in my labels for for April and for May. I use a punch from We Are Memory Keepers. You can pick them up on Amazon. They're super simple to grab. And then I'm just using a scrapbook paper that I have. And I'm wanting to keep it all consistent for the year. And I really like that it kind of plays off the little blue in his collar. And I think that about covers like what the setup for the page is and why it is the way that it is and why I've made some changes. And then the next week is Van Gogh. And again, I'm popping in my colors so that if you're curious of what colors you think might go really well with this. I don't know that I love the 526 blue on this page, but I'm gonna roll with it. I might pick something different or darker when we get down to it, but I definitely kind of wanna stay in that blue family for that last color. I love that I've gotten that teal. And one thing that I always forget, and so I did do this while setting up these pages, you can obviously go over a Tombow multiple times. Like, you're not committed to that color. So if you're like, oh, I want something a little bit darker, you can go over it again and it'll deepen it a little bit. I think I do that with the teal on one of the bars, I think is what I chose to do. So the second week of April is themed to be Van Gogh. Obviously I have to skip that page because it's got some stuff on it. The next week is Hokusai. I wish I had picked a different brown or like taupe, because that kind of almost has like a pinkish. It probably doesn't show up on camera as much as it does in person, but I think I'll either go over it. And this has also been nice to kind of use it as an idea space again for the Hahn, because then I'm not kind of messing up on that main page or that main week spread. So I've got the date bar up there. Then I did my washi versus putting it down at the bottom. I wanted to just kind of play with it a little bit, and I really liked the idea that it kind of like went through the colors, as it were. Like it went from the brown straight into the top brown of the washi, and then into the blue of the waves, and then it ends with that mint color. That's where I went over it twice. Like that minty green at the bottom in just little pockets. So I think I like how that turned out and the color choices that were made there. Again, skipping a page because I've got some writing on that side. And this got really ornate, I think, just because this washi itself is so, like, not a lot of color. So I really wanted to play into the line work. So Da Vinci. Sorry, I had to think, did I say the artist before? Again, with the same brown, this fits a little bit better. I used 837 to write in my days of the week instead of doing some bars, just for a different look to see how I like that. And put my task down at the bottom. And that does it. So I really like the matching idea as well. So I will pop that over to the side. We can go ahead and close it, honestly. Put my little tab punch over there. And then we can get into the Hahn. So as far as my tracker goes, I'm actually keeping the same list that I've had for February, March, and April. I've also been giving a lot of thought to trackers, especially with the fact that I fell behind quite a good bit. So February, I literally, and obviously this is not a February flip through, I fell really, really behind in February, just between what was going on with Binks and myself. I was just like, I should just write sick. Like, it fell behind massively. And one bar that I consistently have an issue with keeping updated is the waking up at 5 a.m. I really need to just keep my planner out so that I check it off on the days, because I feel like that can sometimes lead to inaccuracy, because I'm constantly like, well, did I? Whereas there's like certain days where I was like writing, and again, you'll see this in the February flip through. I was literally writing at the top of each daily page what time I was getting up, because I legitimately was not sleeping well. Like, I was not sleeping well. I was so stressed out with what was going on with her. I didn't feel well. Like, I'm probably just harping on it too bad, but I was just like, if you've ever been sick or had a kid sick or had a pet sick and you're dealing with all that and you're sick yourself, it's just a mess and a blur. And this kind of put me behind. And then in the catch-up process, I really found myself getting frustrated with, why am I tracking? Like, it was, I definitely find the value in it, but I had a moment where I was just like very upset. Like, was I tracking what I really wanted to see progress in? Was I tracking what I actually cared about? Like, why was I not feeling? And it was also bringing up those questions of the things that I'm not actively checking off every day, like French or the custom or saving or whatever the case may be, why am I not getting to those things? Like, what's pulling my time away? Is that the best use of my time? Is that the best value that I can bring to my day? So I'm really actually quite a fan of habit trackers. I'm going to keep them. I just needed to kind of have a fight with them at first. But all that to say, we're going to have an April tracker. I encourage you to have those conversations with yourself if you are having struggles with trackers as well, and making sure that you're doing them for the right reasons and to add value and not to make yourself go crazy, but also that you're using that data proactively instead of negatively, because it can definitely become really quite a difficult space to be. Like with the French thing, I'm finding myself getting a little upset because it's something that I really do want to do. And then the same with the custom, but I have to remember, like, at the end of the day, like, work is gonna come first. It puts the roof over my head, it buys me the pretty pins and the pretty planners and the stickers. Like, that has to always come first, which is also why this video is going up late today, because work had to come first, and it's been a really stressful few days as we are working through an interview process to hire for my position so I can move up, which is great, but it is very stressful and time consuming, as I'm sure you can imagine. So all the things are happening. But this month we are working on tracking 5 a.m. wake ups, or for April rather, workouts, calorie deficits. I just found out that we might be going to the beach in the summer, and so trying to get that summer bod back. 12K steps, 64 ounces of water, reading 10 pages, French again, 5-year custom and save. And again, this all goes back to, I have to remember at its core the mantra that I say, and I say this in so many videos, I stopped doing the percentages because I felt like they weren't encouraging, versus I want to see when and how often. Like, I don't even know that 5 a.m. is necessary to keep on there much longer. And I did have that thought when I was filling out this tracker, like, this might be the last month that it looks like this, because I need to see like the value in that. Like, why do I care that I wake up at 5 a.m. those days? Well, I care because I'm a morning person and I'm better at that. But I've also noticed that there's been a couple of mornings that, to my benefit, it's been better if I slept till 6 or 7. Even if it meant a later start, it was better in the long run. So I think that you really just have to have those conversations with yourself individually on each task. So I'm done beating that dead horse. I'll be quiet and we can move on. So moving on to the monthly spread. So I actually use my column for a cleaning list, and then I use the main page to chart social media. So that's YouTube, Instagram, and the Facebook Coffee Monster Co. group. So you'll see all the little play buttons on Wednesdays and Sundays, which are my upload days, ideally at noon. And then everything else is blank because I currently don't plan Instagram or Facebook posts, because I feel like, again, that's another thing I don't need to add. I would love the organization of that, but I'm not at that level. And I feel like that feeds into my mentality as well of like, don't add another plate. Like, you need to get good at understanding when you're spinning too many plates or not enough. Like, it's always a constant changing evolution of that. And I feel like the more in tune with you are and the more check-ins that you have with yourself. I had a major check-in with myself yesterday. That's why I sound like very like crazy probably. But I had a really hard check-in with myself because I caught Tia and Tara Tuesday and she was like, are you feeling like super overwhelmed and sad and just like play it? And I was like, oh no. And it was basically like, hey, you are not taking care of yourself. And I really love the analogy that she gave, which was like, back in the olden days and Viking days, basically the number one thing was to keep the fire going. Like, or if you didn't, it would go out and you'd freeze to death. So like, what if we took our bodies that seriously? Like, that maintenance of that fire, like think about maintaining a fire or fireplace, like all that goes into that. And you're like, oh yeah. So like, if I didn't tend that, I would die. Okay. If you don't tend to yourself, you're going to die. That's very dramatic, but you get the point. But I feel like that explains my monthly spread. I do not have my colors handy, but if you want, that's probably my favorite pink, which is like, I think 813 or something like that. And then this is like a pale blue. I packed all my Tombos away because Jeff is coming over for dinner and the coffee table looked like a wreck. So I cleaned up all of my pins, but I think these are pretty common colors. But if you want to know, drop me a comment down below with a recommendation. That's the only stipulation. Okay, so I know we kind of went through this already a little bit with the Hobonichi weeks, but in the effort of me showing you side by side how absolutely gorgeous and how excited I am that my pages are finally matching, I'm so excited about it. As far as weekly planning, I don't do any planning beyond just putting down a washi strip. And in the past, I've been putting them down at the bottom because I wake up really early. And after April, I'm definitely going to go back to the bottom. I said I would do the top for 2 months just to even out the planner. And that might happen again. Like I might do May and then alternate like June, July, like kind of I'll see how I feel about it because I do want it to be kind of even, but something that's happening in the daily pages is my strips are going on top. So I wonder if it'll just even itself out if I keep it with the washi strip at the bottom on my weekly spreads and at the top on my daily spreads. So we'll see how that goes. But so for the first week, like I said, I've got the Monet theme going on. And again, please let me know your recommendations. I would really love to hear them. The second week is going to be Van Gogh. And I've skipped something. There it is. And then we go into Hokusai. And even if you put a suggestion in there and I watched it the last round, that's not to say that I wouldn't do it again. And then the last week is Da Vinci. So something that I really enjoyed last year. So I watched a show, what was it called? It was based off the Da Vinci Code, but it's like the prequel show that was only out for a little while, and I opted to do that. I would like to watch the Da Vinci Code and I think there's 2 of them. I would like to watch both of those this time around. Another one of my favorite Da Vinci things is to watch Ever After because he's in it, quote unquote. I did watch a documentary, well, kind of like a movie about Hokusai's daughter, and then obviously the Thomas Crown Affair. What else did I kind of get into? I should have brought my other planner out. But yeah, I'm open to all of it, so please let me know your suggestions, and I hope that this video is not out like so extremely early that you're all like, what? But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that this encourages you guys to follow along too. That was another reason that I wanted to put it out, because I figured people would be starting to kind of set up for April soon, and I wanted to maybe have this out as like Artist April was kind of my thinking back then, and so same this year. So I really hope that you guys follow along and feel comfortable giving me some suggestions, because I'd love to have them. But until the next video, enjoy creating your own wonderlands, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.